I had 3 brothers and 4 sisters. It was a very rowdy household. I'm a man of faith and attend Christian Holy Trinity Church. I grew up in Stratford, but now live in London. I may move back sometime, though. When I was 18, I married my fair wife, Anne Hathaway. 9 years later, when I was 27, I wrote my first play, Venus and Adonis. I've been associated with the Lord Chamberlain's Men acting company for quite some time now. However, they are now my acting company and are called the King's Men ever since we got a coveted royal license. This is a brief synopsis of my life. Of course, I cannot tell you of my death, but I am getting to be an old man. When I was a boy, I attended Stratford Grammar School. There I attained my, as some do say, excellent writing abilities. My father was a generous man, a generous lender, that is. He came out on the short end of the stick, an expression of my own if I do say so myself. Most of the time. Our family ended up being very poor. That is why you should be, as I said in my play Hamlet, neither a borrower or lender be. Due to my father's bad luck, I had to leave school, much to my dismay. I helped my father, who was a glover by trade, by butchering the calves for leather. I shall move on with the story of my life. When I was 16, I was alleged of poaching on a nobleman's property. I would never think of breaking the law, but to save my own skin, I ran away from Stratford. 2 years later, when I was 18, I married my wife, Anne Hathaway, who had 3 children, one of which, Hamlet, died when he was only 11. I wrote the play Hamlet in honor of him, my only male heir. The pain I had. There was no one to carry on the Shakespeare news. I cannot change the past, so I shall not lament over it. I'm said to be a very expressive man. I should think I am. I've written just over 37 plays and also have written various sonnets and poems. I wrote comedies and tragedies and histories. One comedy, The Taming of the Shrew, I believe most of you have read. My plays represent the real world, not like the other plays that show the heroes as flawless. I make my characters as people really are, but people are not fearless, ever brave, or perfect. They're imperfect creatures. For a time I worked at the Globe Theatre in London. Just as I began to really start writing plays, all the theatres were shut down. The awful Black Plague had come. Being richer than some, but poorer than others myself, I was able to stay out of the pearliest of diseases and survive the plague. I spent my time traveling around and writing poetry and sonnets. For some time, I was an actor with the Queen's Men, the royal acting company of Queen Elizabeth. After acting with the Queen's Men, I associated myself with the Lord Chamberlain's Men, another acting company. I associated myself by going in with some colleagues of mine and buying the acting company. Unfortunately, the worshipful Queen Elizabeth died. However, this was fortunate for my acting company. Her successor, King James, liked us well and gave us a coveted royal license, giving us permission to call ourselves the King's Men. We performed in the Globe Theatre, which one night we moved outside of London, across the river. We could no longer afford to pay the rent which the landlord demanded. Carefully, the other owners and I took the theatre down, piece by piece, plank by wooden plank, through the dark night. The only way to get to the theatre now was by ferryboat. This made the 3 ferryboat owners extremely joyous. I have told you of my life. Of course, I cannot tell you of my death, but I'm sure someone else will. Through my years, I've come to realize the truths in life, the sad, the funny, and what is past. That is why I wrote tragedies, comedies, like The Taming of the Shrew, and histories. Other such plays were Julius Caesar, a history, or Romeo and Juliet, a tragedy. Even in my darkest hour, I have always tried to find a light, a jovial note, and I pray you will too. My plays reflect my life, so when you are reading one, remember me. Now I must say, adieu, good neighbor, and let the wood slip, we shall ne'er be young.